All right, thank you, Ginger. So today we are going to be doing the stack haircut. So we're actually going to do the stack with an angled front. There are some instances where ladies, they don't want that angle in the front. I personally like it better to where it's longer, where it comes down. And then there's some ladies that they want you to do the impossible and make it, you know, down here in the front and up here in the back. Y'all feel me?
I like mine straight.
You like it? Yeah, so, and some people do. Some people don't want that angle.
Yeah.
So the way I cut it today, we are gonna be able, I'm gonna show you how to achieve this longer in the front, or the angle. So, does anybody remember where I said that the hair is gonna, the weight is gonna gather in this haircut? At the occipital bone. So all the weight is going to gather at the occipital bone, and what degree will we hold our fingers to achieve that?
45.
The 45. The 45 is where it helps you achieve, or it does achieve that weighted gather, and where you hold your fingers and how long you want it. That decides how far up the head. But I like to part my hair at the occipital, so I know that I don't go any higher than that. Y'all see how I've parted her today?
Mm-hmm.
So I've parted the front of the head, which is in front of the ears. So in front of the ears, and then I have parted at the occipital bone. I want to get all of this taken care of before I go any further. Some people do say this is one of the harder haircuts, but it's once you achieve it, you're gonna feel really good, because it can be. It can be a little testing at times. So I actually did not learn this haircut until after I had graduated, and I was a stylist for about a year. I couldn't, in school I could not get it. So, but I think going and taking extra classes and watching the videos helped me. Like, that's why I always tell y'all, if you can't get it the way I teach it, there's 4 different ways to get to rock mark. You know what I'm saying? So find what works for you. I know Ginger was talking about that with the 90. You said, you know, if it don't work, and I know some of you don't cut the 90 from, like I do, from the bottom to the top. Some will cut it from top to bottom, and that's completely okay. Just however you do it, if it works for you, it works for you. So, but I am gonna show as far as this goes. Oh, she's a little bit crooked right there. For anybody with a short haircut, is this, like with a bob, or a man's haircut, I tend to like to use a neck strip versus a towel. Does anybody know why?
Because the towel gets in the way of the cut.
The towel does tend to get in the way. It's a little more bulky, whereas this is very thin.
And flat to your neck.
It's flat to your neck. It lays flush, so it's going to make your life a little easier. So if when you're doing this haircut, if you don't want to use your towel, you can use this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off. I've already got her parted, front side of the way. I like to do the whole back and then move to the front. So, and if that don't work for y'all, if you want to do the whole thing, it just, as a beginner, I would advise to kind of take it piece by piece, but that's why I've sectioned it off like this, so I kind of have a guideline or a map as far as how I'm going to do this haircut. So I'm not going to fool with this right now. I'm not going to fool with this. I'm just going to start with the back. So I'm going to drop my first parameter, and I do like for her to be, I do like for my client to bend her head down, be looking down for this. So, pull that down. And I'm gonna drop this back parameter. Try to keep it as straight as possible. This haircut is all about those straight lines and angles. So, I generally like to cut this part against their neck. that is like the truest zero. Like there's no, my fingers are getting in the way. It's just the true natural fall of her hair. If it makes you feel better to start off with holding your fingers, I always like I've told you, I always like to start in that back middle. So I'm gonna start right there, making sure her head straight is down, and then I'm just doing the zero. Okay.
I think where I messed up at is my top wasn't the same length as as the back.
Your top wasn't the same as the back?
Yeah, the same length for it to be the even.
For what haircut?
What was the haircut we just did? 180, I think. Yeah, that.
Okay. For the 90,
Well, we
okay.
had the two guidelines
Okay.
in the middle.
Oh, okay. But your haircut looked fine. So,
You know, fake it till you make it.
fake it till you make it. You faked it good. So anyway, but just like any zero, I start in the middle and then work my way out. And then I come back and make sure that's nice and even. Even if I have to turn her around and
Why does the back middle look longer than the sides?
that looks longer.
To me, it looks shorter.
Like
Yeah.
the middle is shorter than the sides.
It is. So I'm gradually, and I don't have to. I don't have to. This is my personal preference. I generally like to kind of make this a little shorter and then go out. But where I place my fingers and how I do that makes that. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well,
but
I seen you pulling it this way, so.
yes, yeah. So I want to. I made that decision. I made that call. I want this to be a little shorter. But there are some folks that they don't want this to be. They want this to be straight, no angle, and then they want their angle to be right here. I kind of like it to do it gradually. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to show y'all, how to do that gradually today.
So what angle did you hold your hair?
So I pulled it down at zero, but then I angled my fingers just slightly. So I'm pulling it down at zero, and then I angled my fingers. Does that make
So
sense?
you did a zero in the middle and then angled it on the side.
I angled just my fingers, yeah.
Okay.
Or I could do it like this and start here, make my first initial cut, and then angle just you see how I'm not going straight, I'm not completely horizontal, I'm at a diagonal a little bit. That's how I would do that against their skin. So, y'all see how it's a little bit shorter right here, and I gradually went longer. And I made sure that each of these are the same. I even turned it around. You're gonna hear me say it 100 times. The mirror never lies. I will always, even if you're in my chair, whatever, I will always check with the mirror. Hate to say check with the mirror. I will check with the mirror to make sure that she's nice and even. So, for my next section, I don't want it to be any thicker than, dadgummit, I don't want it to be any thicker than what I just did. Like if I can't see through it, thank you. If I can't see through that, I don't want, I'm gonna tape less. Does that make sense? So you see how I pulled it down and I can see my guideline really well right there? So, and then I'm using that guideline for the remainder of this back piece. So I'm pulling it straight down at my zero. Can you see my guideline through there?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just following that.
So do you angle it a little more or just go with the guideline?
I'm going with the guideline. But it will be a little bit angled because I'm going with it. You see how it's going down? Okay, so y'all see it pretty good now? And then I'm gonna bring that last piece down. Do the same thing. This side was a little bit longer over here, unless I have it up a little bit. Okay, so I've got my length cut, okay? Some people, they want to cut the whole head. They want to have that fresh, clean slate. You know, they'll be like, okay, I've done this. I'm going to pull all this down, cut that at the length that I want so that all that extra long hair is out of my way. Okay? If you want to do that, I'm cool with it. But just know, as a beginner, that extra hair might hinder you. Does that make sense? Okay. Everybody awake? Everybody awake? Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay. So, now that I have my bottom guideline set, I'm going to take my what? Y'all know what I'm thinking.
The middle piece.
My pie slice. Okay? And if it helps you to get some of this out of the way while you're working on your pie slice, I'm for it. We can worry about not parting later. But if it helps you to part and get this hair out of your way, do it. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here. So y'all saw how when I was doing this, she was directly in front of me. When I am doing a elevated haircut such as this, whether it be a 45, or a 90, I kind of like to work to the side.
How do we do that without raising our elbow above our head?
So she needs to be brought down a little bit. You see what I was doing just then, how I was really, you want to be comfortable. So I like to have the guideline at eye level, or not eye level, but pretty much. So I brought her up to do this bottom piece right here. But now I don't have to, because I'm working on the elevation. So, and y'all see that I'm keeping my shears palmed. I'm not laying it down, not laying my comb down. I'm keeping them both in my hand. I'm just switching. But I'm keeping myself and the client safe by removing my thumb and palming my shear. So I'm using this piece right here. Can y'all see that little piece right there? As my guideline. That's my first guideline. And how I angle my hand, I'm going to angle it at a 45. But how far I come out determines how short this taper is going to be. Does that make sense? So I'm going to do it making sure that I see my guideline down here. Pulling it nice and straight. I see my guideline. I've got my fingers angled at a 45 right there. And I'm going to make my first cut. Okay. Nice and straight. Y'all saw that? 45, use that as my guideline. That bottom piece is my guideline. So now, I'm gonna use this piece and this piece as my guideline. So that bottom, and then this is my interior guideline. Okay? But, as I'm gradually going out, I'm gonna pull everything to this piece. Do y'all know why? To this first initial guideline. Because I want to make it longer gradually. Okay? So my next pie slice, I'm at a nice straight parting. I'm not going to pull it out straight at where the hair grows. I'm going to pull it towards this back center. Can y'all see my guideline right there?
Yes.
Y'all see those little stragglies that I'm taking? And I'm pulling it at 45. Okay. And then I'm gonna grab another.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So if the person's hair was uneven and say that part was shorter, what would you do then?
Okay, explain it again.
So like, okay, say their hair was shorter and it couldn't like reach back here, what would you do to fix that?
If this hair up here
Yeah,
couldn't
it was
reach
shorter
back,
when you pulled it back and so you couldn't pull it back. You know what I'm saying?
like if it was already really short,
Yeah, already really short and you couldn't do it.
I would let them know that that haircut may not be appropriate for them.
Okay.
Because I can't, I can't
Yeah.
grow hair for you, So, but that's a good question as far as like being able to tell your client, hey, this might not be the best haircut for you because this is already really short right here. And it won't look exactly like my lady here. Right? Okay.
Okay, so I have I just need to, put it in Tory terms for her.
Put it into some Tory terms. Let's hear it.
So basically, you're taking the hair over here from the right side, over here to a mohawk.
I'm bringing it to that center, yes. And you know why?
That was a trick question.
I'm over directing all this hair over here, which is gonna, once it goes back to its natural falling state, it's gonna make it longer.
Up in the 180?
Yes, I'm over directing, just like with the 180.
So we're bringing right side, mohawk, and cutting at 45.
Yep, and then I'm gonna do the same thing over here.
So left side, mohawk, 45.
Mhm. So it's still the same 45 that we did, where we brought it straight out, but we're just bringing it to the center. That's more of a, remember how I said we were kind of doing the traveling guideline before? We're now doing more of a stationary guideline, because we're all bringing it back. Make sense? Perfect. Yay, y'all are following. Now, what else did we talk about as far as around these ears go?
Don't cut it.
Don't cut it. So you do want to be very mindful, but all you need is a little sliver. Just a little sliver. You see how much I left there? A sliver. So then we're going to pull all that back to that middle piece, and there's not a whole lot to be taken off right there, so I'm going to leave that. Okay, now I'm going to start over here. Oh. I'm going to put these over here. I'm not going to use them again.
I think my mannequin hair too short.
You can take it as short as you want to with this. I'm just kind of doing a very subtle. And if I can't see my guideline, I don't make a cut, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can we see my guideline now?
No.
No. How about now? I can see my guideline too. So I'm not bringing it out from the hair that we're working with. I'm bringing it towards the middle.
So when you say see your guideline, are you talking about the hair that you previously cut? Or
Yes,
the
I
bottom?
want to be able to see my interior guideline. But also making sure I'm not cutting into it.
I wanna know who wanted their hair this complicated and decided to make it a really thing.
I think that might be why they call it the Karen haircut. Right? Okay. Alright, and then the same thing over here. I want my little sliver left out. Do y'all understand why we want this little sliver left out?
So your
For the
horseshoes.
horseshoe. no.
Right, and I mean, and that's pretty much our perimeter. You know how we always connect that right here? That's like our perimeter, so it's our bottom piece that we don't want to cut into. We don't want to risk that.
But if
'Cause
it was a real person's head, we would, right?
Huh?
If it was a real person.
In a real person, you're going to drop some too. You just got to be mindful about it. It's not as easy to cut a horseshoe on a real person as it is on these mannequins, just because of how these mannequins are made. All right, so now I'm bringing it over. You see how if I bring it out right here, I'm taking a whole lot, but if I bring it in, I'm not taking as much. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I've created is a nice little, it's shorter right here and it gradually comes down. Can y'all see how that's kind of in the makings there?
Yes.
Okay, so this bottom piece is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking this down into pie slices. And I'm gonna meet that. Oopsie. Without me laying that over, can y'all see how that kind of lays closer to the head right there too, in a taper?
So what would you do, pull that hair out further?
Huh?
Would you pull it out a little bit further?
What?
If it's like laying.
We want it to lay, that's how a stack lays. You see how this one lays?
Yeah.
Flat to the hand? That's what we want. And that's how a man's haircut's gonna look too. It's because it's tapered at a 45, closer to the head. So like this is longer, this is where this hair gathers. Okay, so I'm gonna get my 45. And I'm gonna look for my guideline. Can everybody see my guideline right there? Okay. All I'm gonna do here, generally, most folks want their stack to fall at the occipital, like this gathered their longest piece to fall right there. So, but then there's instances where some folks want it really, really short. I'll bring up a picture in a minute once I get done and show y'all some higher, stacks. But, huh?
I said it gets higher.
Yeah, like this, some folks like this, like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I don't generally like that, but some people do. Some people like it where it kinda gets spiky right here. But,
Are we doing a Dora haircut?
What?
right now,
Yours like,
right now, hers is a blunt cut all the way
yeah,
around.
hers is like a bob.
Yeah, hers is a bob. Okay.
Dora the Explorer got a ball.
Alright, so does everybody see my guideline right there? So what I'm gonna do is I'm holding my fingers at a 45 and I'm just cutting up.
So you're still redirecting it there right to the middle?
I'm gonna keep redirecting it. So, but this is my middle piece. Yeah, this is my middle piece. So all I did was I just held my fingers at a 45 and that's where I'm continuing for the back, okay? Now I'm gonna take this next piece and a little bit of the piece that I just cut. Can y'all see my guideline?
Yes.
And I'm holding it at 45, bringing it to the middle, okay? Okay, grabbing my next piece, bringing it towards the middle. Okay, and then my last piece. Can y'all see my guideline right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Bringing it towards the middle. Could y'all see my guideline?
No.
I couldn't either. How about now?
At the bottom of your finger?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can y'all see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
Pulling it straight over. Okay, and I'm not hardly gonna take anything off that one. That one was already pretty much. Okay. Y'all see that back? How's that looking to y'all?
Good.
She looking good. She look real good straight. Huh?
I said, I don't know, you should ask me, I don't even like the hair.
So, as of right now, my back is finished. Okay? Hey, once you practice a few times,
I know it.
for real.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, now that I've got this completed, I'm gonna work on my front. So what will I do first up here?
Wait.
Well, yeah, that.
Say the
Any guesses?
Make your guideline for the middle.
The perimeter?
What?
The perimeter, the bottom?
Use the parameter.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't.
You don't get it?
She said what you said in different words.
So she did.
So y'all see how this is longer right here?
Is that with the zero, how we draw the parameter, how we draw the
It made the gun?
Yeah. Well, see, I dropped that first anyway.
Do I want her head to be pointed downward for this?
No.
She's stiff. Okay. So,
Bring her back up now.
yeah, I should bring her back up, but I'm not doing that. I'm gonna break my back. Okay, so do y'all see the difference right here in this to here? So let's say that she wanted to keep all that. She wanted to keep this length right here. So that's my job to meet from this to that. Y'all know how we're gonna do that? You're gonna use our fingers to cut diagonal. So I'm gonna get down here.
Josh, she's proposing to Miss
I am proposing to Debbie. Oh, Debbie. Okay, so I'm gonna gradually work my way up to this short piece up here. So she wants to keep that, so I'm leaving that piece out. And y'all see how I'm angling, I'm not keeping it like this. I'm coming at a 0, but I'm angling my fingers up. And how much I'm angling it is gonna be determined by how steep that is. Okay, so I pretty much connected that. What y'all think about that? They look pretty even. I generally like to do this on her against her skin too, just this bottom one. So, and then you'll see she's already been layered, so none of that's gonna come down. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna turn her around and I'm gonna do the same thing over here, and now I'm gonna show y'all how I blend those layers. I'm gonna show y'all everything God gave me.
Miss Jessie,
Mm-hmm.
did you get recorded?
Yes, Ginger did. I may have to do a voiceover for this one.
Yeah, maybe.
That's okay though.
Sorry, guys.
And speed it up a little. That's all right.
She's gonna skip all our valuable questions.
Oh no, they are valuable questions.
I try to be a good noodle and not put on the
Oh,
show.
that's why I was sitting here thinking, why does that look funny? So, what did I forget?
To drop your guideline.
Drop my guideline. And that's mainly gonna make, it's just for you to make your life so much easier. Alright. So, now do y'all see why this side is a little easier? Why do y'all think that this side's a little easier?
This was already cut.
So did y'all see how over there I was coming at it from the bottom to the top? Over
Oh,
here,
You gotta come from the top to the bottom.
I'm gonna be coming from the top to the bottom. So, can y'all see my guideline right there? Y'all see, so a while ago I was going up to meet it here. Right here, I'm going down. Y'all see how I'm placing my fingers in the direction that I'm going? I think this side was shorter.
Yeah, I think so too.
Y'all see how I'm not taking as much?
That's what I meant.
Oh,
Yeah, the hair does look really like a lot shorter than it was over there.
it is. It's a little bit shorter. So I will calibrate for that in just a minute.
Yeah, maybe she likes one side a little
She wants to know
bit.
she's
You
trying to
know,
do
and
more
some
than
people
that.
do. Some people do like it longer on one side.
She's just trying to do the left.
Okay.
I know the left eye is.
You didn't.
Oh
No,
my gosh, that's really long.
The haircut, girl.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
No, that's
The
not coming up
TLC.
with her eye, 'cause
Okay. That's good. So, she's now brought down at a 0 at one length but at an angle. Okay. So, now to achieve these layers blending to this and making this longer because that angle's longer, I'm going to do the same thing that I was doing back here. I'm going to take a piece from what I've already cut back here, make sure I drop my little parameter so that I don't cut into my parameter, so she don't have a horseshoe. And I'm
we
going to
still
take,
pulling it to the back.
huh?
We still pulling it to the
That's what I was just about to say. I got my sides.
Oh, this haircut has a lot to it.
There's a lot to this haircut, and I'm bringing it back. Do y'all see my guideline right there? And I'm doing the same thing all the way to the front. Ooh, make sure that perimeter's taken out. And it's just not a whole lot, it's just a little bit being taken off. And then if I need to, once I'm finished, to kind of come back up here and make sure that all that looks right, I can. See that? I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Pulling a piece that I've already cut and a new piece. And then dragging it back here. Oh. Can y'all see that? Just a little. Hardly any taken off there. And then, like I've told y'all before, I always like to tie up my loose ends. I always want to cross check. I do always like to bring this little top piece up and do me a little 1, 2. 1, 2, and then just make sure that all that looks right. And then if she wanted bangs, I could do that. Once you do go back up and do that, you kind of want to make sure that there's no corners. Y'all know what I mean? Y'all see that corner right there? I want to bring it back.
And so how do you cross check this?
So anytime I'm cross-checking this, I just pull it out.
Okay,
You know how I go through the 90 and I'll just pull random pieces?
yeah.
I just want to make sure that I've gotten all those. Like that one looks good. And then I generally like to go back in and kind of texturize this. And I know that we're building weight right here. But I also kind of like to fan that out and go in and cut some of that out of that bottom weight. Y'all see how there's just some little jagged pieces? What's another tool that I could use to produce that?
Yeah, what's the other scissors?
My
The
thinning shears.
Scissors.
My thinning shears will do the same thing. I would want to go in and kind of fan that out and kind of just at the ends take some of that, and that's gonna.
Do we have to?
No, you don't have to. I just thought y'all might want to,
I'm not that advanced just yet.
I know. And we're gonna have a texturizing and class too. So, but just for this haircut, just so y'all know. So that's what I like doing. And then I'm gonna blow her dry and style her too. And once I'm done with this haircut, it never fails. I always want to blow dry and straighten her because so I can check. This haircut is one of those that if you don't check it, she's gonna go home and do it herself, and she's gonna have a piece here, she might have a piece there. You always want to. You don't want her to leave thinking, chancing that she's gonna go home and do that. So, do y'all have any questions? So, I'm gonna let y'all do that. If y'all have any questions, I'm here.